Right, welcome to the Debian.net team BoF. This session is being split into two. The first BoF will be Debian.net, the second will be Debian.social with roughly the same people, and probably nobody else because the schedule change happened 5 minutes ago. There was an unavoidable clash in the schedule and we didn't think we were going to be able to fit the Debian.social BoF in, but so it goes. So the Debian.net team provides VMs for Debian people who need to host services for Debian. The thinking is if you are building infrastructure for Debian, you shouldn't have to provide your own hosting for it. And the Debian system administrators don't have the bandwidth to provide, the time bandwidth to provide provisioning services for all of Debian. They prefer to focus on core, well-established services, and we are spending some DPL money on cloud hosting to cater for everything else. We have an agenda that is busy being built. The first item is what shall we talk about? Does anyone have anything to add to that? Welcome. Please write agenda items. After the session last year in India, we said we would do a census of all of the Debian.net services. We did this. My recollection is that most things were in use. A few people took a while to get back to us, but they did. The press team currently has 2 VMs, but they intend to migrate to one, I think. I think Meatbot took a very long time to migrate to its VM, but that's happened now. Yeah. Is it time to census again? Should we wait another year before?
I think it's time again.
All right. Census round 2. I see some numbers there of what we're spending on Hetzner.cloud infrastructure. Is debug-info-d a single server?
Yeah, that's a standalone server for the debug-info-d .debian.net servers. So they need lots of hard disk space for all the like 10 terabytes of data. So that definitely needs a server on its own.
Requests have kind of slowed down in the last couple of years. There was a big spike in the beginning, but now they're a lot slower. We did just get a request for a service that is still in the early development stages. How do people think we should handle requests like that? Yes, support the development, spend the money, says Elasti.
Are our bugs public? Can we actually reference to it?
Our bugs are public.
Okay. In the meantime, I'll try to open it. My connection is a bit slow.
You're talking about Debiverse?
I'm talking about Debiverse, yes.
Okay, then I will link it.
We have a new request. They want a bigger VM. We are happy to provide bigger VMs. We start you on the smallest VM that we can get you to accept, and then we will happily upgrade when you need more space. So yeah, Debiverse seems like a fairly early stage project.
I wonder for projects like that, it's not going to have many users while it's still in development. So I guess we can ask them, will they be fine with a small machine to start off with, or even hosting it on, I don't know, your fiber connection at home for a little while until it at least works enough for someone else for one other person to use.
I think as soon as you're wanting to make something public,
yeah,
Debian.net makes sense. You shouldn't have to spin up anything of your own, but yeah, when the Git repo doesn't even exist yet, it raises eyebrows because why isn't this your laptop?
Yeah. At least worst case scenario, if we give someone a VM in this case, we'll catch it again by the next census if nothing has happened. So worst case is a year of a tiny instance.
Which is not
that we
much
lose.
money.
Yeah. So maybe it's worth the risk. I guess LSD is right.
I think we should create VMs for things like that, yes. Okay, that's agreed. Do we have anything else to cover? Yes, you got a mic. Excellent.
Yeah, somebody learned that I hog the mic. I remember last year there was the conversation about the debug.net, the Debian.net team providing actually managed servers with everything. Does that work? Do you do it?
We don't currently do it. I think we should. I also think we should have some monitoring and metrics and stuff.
And do you think it will also happen, maybe?
Sorry?
Do you think you will also eventually do it? Do you plan on working on it?
There's a long list of things that will eventually happen.
The question,
if you help us, it will happen even faster.
Right.
The question is, are there people to make this happen?
Right.
Was Anocat also looking at this? I think so, yeah. Let us not get in the way of you making something like this happen if you would like to.
So my pet peeve is a UDD mirror, which is just like a Docker container, and I have no use for the rest of the VPS. So if you were able to provide everything that just I can give you a link to an image, and that would be worth great for me. I don't know if others team had similarly CG setups sometimes.
So when we were discussing Debian.net before it got created, there was a couple of years of discussions on walks and DebConf and things like that. We were trying to decide what configuration management system we would use to provide such a service, and we could never come to an agreement. I think this would be a case of whoever writes the code gets to make the decisions and democracy applies.
All right, I will just take note.
Yeah, I think also as far as configuration management goes, the idea is that we provide some base, not configure all the individual services that people want to host. So, for example, if we want email to work, we configure postfix and stuff like that. But when it comes to the stuff actually running on the machines, it's up to the person who owns that VM.
I would be fine with that living in the configuration management as well, but they'd be responsible for maintaining that bit.
Yeah.
And definitely optional. Yeah.
Yeah. No, my point is you provide a base,
Yes.
a mail, and I don't know, a reverse proxy maybe or something like that, and that's it.
My hope was that we would be able to reuse DSA puppets and
that's heavy.
make a path from Debian.net onto DSA infrastructure straightforward. And no, that doesn't look like a useful.
No.
Yeah.
It would be nice, but
Given that we're all video team, we should probably just do Ansible because we've all got some basic Ansible knowledge. And it's not the worst, it's not the best, it's fine. High voltage looks...
I wanted to try to convince DSA to move to support HTTP 2, and so they said, oh yeah, we just need to move over to using the npm event server in Apache, and I thought, okay, that sounds cool, can you do it? And they said, no, well, they need some time to figure out how to do it in their Puppet configuration, which has become quite complicated. So I thought, how hard could it be? And I cloned it, and I spent like an hour trying to figure out how I would do that, and I couldn't. So I'm also a +1 for probably not DSA's Puppet, but if it would be Puppet, a simpler standalone one, but Ansible is probably even the better choice in the end.
Yeah. I mean, it'd be lovely if we could share the same things as SSH key infrastructure and...
I mean, it's fairly easy to get the they need to be in LDAP.
Yeah, and it needs their side to accept it, and like it would need agreement from both sides to make it happen, and I haven't seen any interest. We have a 10 minutes purple sign being waved at the back of the room.
Yeah, I mean, actually, I think like, Pierre Elliott is now part of the SA, so getting him to add the host to LDAP shouldn't be too hard.
Yeah?
But,
Sorry, I came here because of the Debian Brazil issue, but I'm surprised to see debugging for D on the list. So I don't know if you covered that already, or if there's something that involves the maintainer of the service, which is me. No. Okay.
We were just talking about the costs. I don't know why there's a separate line for it there, but...
Because it's a standalone machine.
Okay.
and it's also like more than 50% of the other.
Yeah, no, yeah, I don't understand those numbers actually. Like I don't know how you guys organize everything. So.
You're expensive.
But worth it.
Yeah.
It needs a lot of disk space indeed. Yeah. I was even considering asking for more, but.
You can. There's a process that we showed earlier on. You can just file a ticket.
Yeah. Okay. Great.
DPLs are usually very happy to spend money on anything that will make Debian better.
Yes.
And then we say that's
Yeah, that's a message I wanted to hear.
Yes.
But that's why I'm asking. Like, if there's another message here, just let me know. Okay. About the Debian Brazil issue. Did you want any feedback or
I
any?
haven't even read it yet, to be honest.
Okay. Okay.
Just one question. Do you have like a recurring budget from the DPL, or do you ask for an increase
We ask for
once in a
increases
while?
when we need them.
Okay. How much is your current budget? Is it like, does it just fit what you have, or do you have some buffer? Or?
I can't remember. High voltage might.
I tend to confuse Debian.net and Debian.social a bit, but I think Debian.net is around 300 euros. So that leaves quite a bit of headroom for more VMs. Yeah.
In practice, we've been hitting the Hetzner Cloud Console budget before budget limits, like the number of cores you're allowed, before we've been hitting the financial limit. So yeah, I've forgotten all about the financial limit. I just ask, what's his name, Hook, for more resources when we can't provision machines. Do we need to recruit more admins into managing the service? We haven't been the fastest with responding to requests in the last year.
More help is definitely welcome and needed. I mean, we're doing okay, but if we can go from, 2 weeks to responding to a ticket to 4 days, that would be great. And like you said, we have ideas and things that we want to do that we don't get time for. So, yeah, if anyone wants to help, please get in touch.
We have an Elasti raising a hand.
Yay. And the Mapreri. When the agenda is that?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, is it? Okay. I didn't see.
I put it above drink beer because I haven't seen any beer yet.
There we go.
I assume the OpenStack plans will probably never come to fruition at this point.
Never is a long time, but basically yes.
We're looking for a partner to provide an OpenStack cluster. If you have a spare OpenStack cluster.
Zigo keeps saying he wants it, but he doesn't feel like doing much work on finding the hoster for this anymore. So we also need someone enthusiastic to go and actually badger companies to do this. But there's the Debian partners team is being revived. So when a big huge computer company comes to us and say they want to help us again, we'll say, well, if you want to give us a few racks and a few servers, we could use that.
Just asking, like, what will you need an OpenStack cluster for? Like, who is asking for it now? Now.
5 minutes.
So the idea is that we could host a lot of VMs on such a cluster, and for like everything we host at Etsnet, for example, and a lot more could be on there. But also, if DDs want short-lived VMs for all kinds of reasons, like they want to do an archive rebuild or implement a PPA or build images over and over for reproducibility or whatever, it's available there for all DDs to just use.
Right, and don't you think we can use the AWS credits we have and money we spend already there?
Which AWS credits would that be?
Technically, yes. In practice, access to these has never been determined.
Yeah, I know.
And there might be multiple pools.
Yes.
So far as I know, it's just been mythical. I've never actually seen this materialize, but people keep asking us, but I don't know.
I don't know. Lucas has access to them. I have no idea how.
That's very small, very specific.
Oh.
There's no way we I don't even know if they still exist. That was
They do.
Okay, but
somewhere.
yeah, we can't use those now.
But part of the point of the OpenStack cluster would be if you need to do weird large-scale things for a short period of time, like there's compute resources available. New item has appeared on the agenda of a plan for shared services. I think this kind of fits into the semi-managed space. If we had Ansible, if we had some configuration management that configured web services, it could configure things like SSO. We have the 1-minute finger. No, it's a question finger.
Also backups?
Also backups, yes. At the moment, the sign-up process has a checkbox of, how are you planning to do backups? And some people say yes.
Also, we remind people who sign up that they get, I think it's 500 gigs. Oh yeah, backups on rsync.net. So we remind them, like, if you set up a service, that's where you can back up your data. Whether they actually do it, we don't know.
Hetzner also has managed backups at the click of a button that snapshots your instance once a day, and we have at least one VM using that. In the last year, I installed the SSHD update everywhere and discovered that a bunch of our instances don't have locked us out of SSH into them, which I think is okay. We can root them if we have to.
And did you?
No, I reached out to the maintainers and said, I'm installing SSH updates. I can't get into your machine. Is this intentional? And I got a response of, who are you? Why are you talking to me about this?
Cool.
I mean, you gave out root for a reason. So.
Yeah, exactly. That's what. And it's good if people lock down their machines. They should do that more. Or we should provide infrastructure to help them to do that. We have 2 minutes. And I think we should continue to do things like push important updates like those to all the machines that we can when necessary, even though we don't promise any kind of managed service.
Not to get ahead to the next BoF, but should we maybe consider getting a big server at some point that we can just put lots of IPs on in individual VMs,
like we're talking about with Debian.social? I was wondering too. I think we're still at the size here where that makes less sense. Yeah. It would make sense for things like your container thing. For anything that could... There's lots of fairly low resource things that are in a Debian.net VM because they need some hosting, and they really don't need a VM of their own. They could be squashed onto 1 minute, onto a much bigger machine in containers or something. That feels like a cost optimization that we don't need to cross yet.
I agree, yeah.
But it will be a managing optimization, like time optimization.
Yeah.
You mentioned backup for rsync, rsync.net service. Are those people facilitating their Debian developer provided space, or is there specific contingent for such services?
That's their DD space.
Yeah, we might want to ask Internet if they can provide like one account for Debian.net specifically and dump things there. Like I'm using already more than a terabyte in Internet personally, so I can't add more.
Okay, cool.
And the time's up.
Yep. Thank you all. Please attend the next BoF by roughly the same team.
And in like 1 minute.